I would much rather have a tiny role in an awesome movie than to be the head guy in something that's just Training Day. I was doing security for years in Hollywood, and I had a friend who was a location manager, because that's what they would do. They would do the locations and they would need security. Well, he's like, dude, we're doing this really intense movie at the Jungle right now with Denzel Washington. You gotta come check it out. I came on set as a visitor. I've always realized that you just have to go. Like, if you just show up, a lot of times your opportunities are there. I was watching Denzel prepare, and I was studying him, and I was like, this is how an actor at the top of his game does his thing. Well, the director walks over to me, Antoine Fuqua, and he says, hey man, you want to be in this movie? I said, yeah. I was like, sir, whatever you need me to do. It was wild. He said, look, I want you to take your shirt off. It says the sun is going down. I'm going to get you up on the roof, and I want you to flip some pigeons. And I was like, okay, whatever. And I took my shirt off. I went up on the roof of this house. And then he said, Terry, come back every night for the next week. And he said, I'm going to find ways to use you in the movie. And I was like, whatever you need. And I didn't get one dime for Training Day. I just showed up. I volunteered. I said, whatever I can do. I just want to help the movie. I want this to be the best thing ever.
Oh, you motherfuckers. Okay.
I remember when the scene got played at the Oscars, my mother called me just screaming like, "You're at the Oscars!" I'm like, "No, I'm not at the Oscars, Mom. I'm in the Oscars, but I'm not at the Oscars." This is the thing, a small role like that, I was so happy to be a part. Like, I cannot describe to you the satisfaction of being in a movie that good. You know what I mean? And it's that iconic and forever and ever. Now, at the time, that was going to be my career trajectory. I was going to be the heavy. I was going to be the mean guy in the movies. And that's the way everybody was seeing me at the time. There's a stereotype about big, muscular African Americans that make you security guards. That are like, he's big, he's mean, he'll rip you to shreds. And I love the fact that I have killed that trope. That you have to see us as real people, three-dimensional, happy family. And I'm happy to be one of those guys that provides that now. Friday after next, I actually did security on next Friday. And I remember watching Cube's car and his trailer, and I was like, "Good morning, Mr. Cube." And he'd be like, "Yeah, man, get out the way." You know? I was like, oh my God, that's Ice Cube. And what's wild is this is before I was acting. I started acting and did a show called Battle Dome, and then did another movie called The Sixth Day, and then I was an extra in Training Day. And they recognized me from that, because Training Day was one of the Ice Cube's favorite movies. But they remembered me. So I got a chance to audition for Friday After Next. And I remember us sitting in the waiting room, me and Cat Williams, hoping, praying one day we would be able to, be in this movie. Cat Williams and I decided we were going to go all in. There was going to be no holding back. If you look at the scenes with Cat Williams and I, it's almost like a intense drama. You know what I mean? Like, and it's really, really interesting too to bring up the Me Too aspect of this thing, because it was comedic, but yet here I was, this guy who was sexually assaulting a pimp.
Oh, you dream. It's a wet dream.
Wet dream? Wait a minute, I'm a pimp. You lost your mind? What the hell? Am I in prison? Hold on, Donna.
At the time, it was viewed as really big comedy. When you look back at it in a new light, you can almost see it as like, oh my God, like this is really the attitude of, when you're talking about male on male assault, the attitude about this thing was comedic in tone, which has made it really, really hard for men to be believed. And I think about it now in retrospect, and you kind of go, that's really, it's deep. Even I was a part of that. At the same time, I think when Kat and I were doing it, we didn't play it as a comedy. And this is why it worked in a lot of ways. When I look at Kat and his career and how he's gone and what it did for me, people said, this guy is willing to be a true actor and put it on the line. And because we were playing it as if it was dramatic. I remember I had the Tupac scene, you know. A lot of people to this day are like, you ruined that song for me, man. You ruined it. But what's so great, I remember being on the set and just ad-libbing. And I started dancing, and they were like, keep it going, keep the film rolling, keep it going.
Up and down like a roller coaster. Gonna come inside you, I ain't stopping till the show is over. 'Cause I'm a rider in and out just like a robber.
This is what I learned, to go ahead and do it. A lot of times as actors, and a lot of times when you're doing things, you go, well, you know, they may not use that, so I won't do it. And then you missed an opportunity. Terry Crews will never miss his opportunity. White chicks. Damian Wayans, he said, man, I got to introduce you to my uncles. And I was like, okay, cool. And he said, they got this movie coming out. We think you'd be right. There was one day I had an audition for Wife and Kids, and I thought I was going to do it, and I bombed it. I mean, it was the worst audition ever. I was like, man, I wouldn't pick me. My agent at the time told me, you have another audition for another movie. It's White Chicks. And I went and just flowed. It was like, and this is the same day, right after a bomb, you don't care anymore. You stop caring and you just go. And Keenan was like, wow, this is pretty good. And I thought maybe he's being nice because I'm a friend of his nephew. You know what I mean? I said, okay, cool. I get the job. I'm in Vancouver. And let me tell you something. Keenan Ivory Wayans, these are the Jacksons of comedy. These were the iconic, and here I am, the great Keenan Ivory Wayans. And he's like, Terry, whatever you did in that audition, he said, do whatever you want to do. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, whatever? He said, man, it's yours. I ran with it. I have never, ever, that was the first time I was fully confident as an actor. I did that Vanessa Carlton 1,000 Miles song in the car, one take.
Making my way downtown, walking fast, faces past, and I'm homebound. And I need you.
Every scene I was in was just comfortable and flowing. And then the premiere happened, and my life changed forever. The producer of the movie called me. He said, Terry, your life will never, ever be the same. He said that you stole this movie all out. And I was like, oh my God. It was incredible. Idiocracy. We had just wrapped White Chicks, and I was auditioning. What was weird is that I kept auditioning. Like, I had to audition for this movie probably 7 different times, which is really unusual. Usually, if you get a call back, it's cool, you know, and you might get 2 or 3 at the most. For me to go in there almost 7 times, I was like, what in the world? I remember when Mike Judge said, you got the gig. The casting director, Mary Vernew, she said, Terry, if I told you who and how many other people were going for this gig, you would be intimidated. She was like, you won. And she's like, there were some big names going for this president role. And I was like, oh my God. And they were like, but Mike wanted you. That's why we kept calling you back. I knew this guy. When I tell you, I knew President Camacho because he reminded me of my time of growing up in Flint, Michigan in church, where you had a pastor or a preacher who you knew was a hustler. You knew he wasn't telling you the truth, but he could say it with so much charisma. If you just put $5 in the box, $5 will get you what you want. And I was like, that's the guy. He's fooling America. I said, this is the biggest bombastic personality. He's a wrestler. He's an ex-porn star. He's a charismatic person who's just bigger than life. And he wants to run the world. And I tell you, I went in again. It was one of those things where we did the speech and I was like, he gonna throw his, I was doing all the little stuff.
I give you my word. He's gonna fix the dust on the street.
Mike Judge was like, dude, this is it. I lost myself. And when you lose Terry Crews and you become, this President Dwayne Elizondo, Mountain Dew, Herbert Camacho, I said, this is my life. And what was so disappointing is that it was a bomb. I was telling everyone, this is the big one. Maya Rudolph, Dax Shepard, all these guys, Stephen Root, Mike Judge, it's gonna be great. The creator of Beavis and Butthead, and nothing. The rumor is that because we used real corporations in our comedy. I mean, Starbucks was giving hand jobs, and these companies gave us their name thinking they were gonna get pumped up. And they were like, welcome to Costco, I love you.
Welcome to Costco. I love you.
All these real corporations are like, wait a minute. Carl's Jr.
Welcome to Carl's Jr. Would you like to try our
Extra big ass taco.
There were a lot of people who were like backing out, but it was too late. And so Fox, who owned the movies, decided we're going to release this in as few theaters as legally possible. So it got a release in probably 3 theaters over one weekend, and it was sucked out into the vortex. Years later, I had major stars coming up to me and going, Camacho, oh my. Will Ferrell was like, that performance blew me away. And I was like, oh my God. And people that I admired and loved for years were like, Idiocracy is my jam. The Longest Yard. I like to call The Longest Yard my revenge on the NFL. I heard that there was this new movie, Longest Yard, and I went in for other roles, and I met with the director, Pete Siegel, as where can I be, where can I go? And they didn't know where they were gonna put me. Well, they had a role for Cheeseburger Eddie. Now, originally, Cheeseburger Eddie was supposed to be 400 pounds. That was the joke. The joke was he eats cheeseburgers, he's a big guy. Adam said, wait a minute, what we're gonna do, we're gonna make you Cheeseburger Eddie, but you're gonna be in shape. In fact, it's like cheeseburgers make you more muscular. He was like, and you are gonna be hustling this cheeseburger, this McDonald's, this contraband in our prison. And now let me tell you, this is the biggest production I had ever been on to date. You had wrestlers from the WWE, you had comedians, Chris Rock, and you had all these stars. Here I was in Santa Fe, and I'm like, oh my God, I am Cheeseburger Eddie. I remember putting on my little knit cap, and I tilted it to the side, and I knew that's who I am. When I started pulling those cheeseburgers out, and I saw the reactions from everyone and the way that I treated, because again, I never treated like it was a comedy. I was really like going at it as if I am in prison and this is as good as cocaine or drugs or a woman. You want a little taste of the outside. I knew to really come at it that way. And let me tell you, a week doesn't go by and people are like, you got a cheeseburger? And then I reach for my pants and it's like, no, I don't. Everybody Hates Chris came from being on the set of The Longest Yard. Chris took notice of me. He said he noticed that I was a father. He noticed, because I had my kids on set, I was bringing them and the whole thing. He also, and this is the thing, when I tell you people are watching you, he also noticed how I was around other women or around other people, and he saw that, he was like, this dude is about his family. He said, I got something for you. Now, I was at home probably about 3 weeks later, I get a script. No heads up, no warning, no nothing. Open it up, and it says, Everybody Hates Chris. Now, I'm laughing already because the show Everybody Loves Raymond was already on the air. And I was like, Everybody Hates Chris. That's hilarious. Just that joke. And I opened it up. It was one of the funniest things I have ever read in my life. 30 pages of pure gold. And I was like, oh my God, now I wanted it. I was the first guy hired on that show. Everybody Hates Chris took over that year. The buzz was good. Everything was great. And it was 4 wonderful seasons of being this wonderful African-American dad. I, Julius, am the only character named after a real family member because that's how much Chris's dad meant to his comedy. And I mean, to play such an iconic character in his life and for him to trust me with that. Chris has other brothers and sisters that are like, man, thank you. Thank you for representing our dad the way you did. I mean, I get a little choked up. These are real people we're talking about. His father died before he could see all of his success. And when I look at Everybody Hates Chris now, I'm beyond proud. The Expendables. The Expendables, the first movie, was supposed to be direct-to-video. You gotta understand where Stallone was at the time. He was trying to get this thing done. They're like, dude, you're in your 60s. How are you gonna do an action movie? All the studios turned it down. So Sly starts calling people. And he starts getting the buzz going. And this is also in the first days of getting viral energy on the internet. So what Sly started to do was tweet out, how would you like to see me, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Bruce Willis, in a movie together? And the internet went crazy. And then he called me. Now, I was probably the fourth choice in the movie, to be honest. But I don't care. Fourth in the world is okay. To me, I was like, and I got a call, and I met Sly in his office, and he was like, hey, what's up, Terry? How you doing, man? Look, I need you for this movie, right? We're gonna do this thing. And I'm thinking it's an audition. He's telling me, we're shooting in about 3 weeks, and be ready. And I'm going, I'm in the movie. And he was like, yeah, you're in the movie. What are you talking about? Here you go. We get ready in about 3 weeks. Get your bags back. I'm like, okay. So there I am. I'm in Brazil. Jet Li comes in. Jason Statham comes in. Randy Couture, Dolph Lundgren. Oh my God, it was Bruce Willis, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Sly. And here I am, and it took over. I remember when the summer it came out. It was so manly. People were like, be careful, you're gonna get pregnant if you watch this movie. It was like the manliest manly movie of all time. When I was on the movie set, I was very disappointed. I remember I didn't feel like I was being used enough. I wanted to do more, and they were like, nope. And I got a bad attitude. This is the moment in the road, the fork in the road, where I was like always giving all I had, showing up for free, no problem, into I want more money. And then I remember sitting, I remember, I think it was some kind of quote that I heard. It was something like, there is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way. And all of a sudden I said, you know what? Terry, change. I'm telling you, man, this is what happened. It was literally in my room. It said, tomorrow, act like you're getting $20 million. I started to shift my attitude. When people go, hey, Terry, I go, hey, how you doing? How are you? Hello, everybody. What do I need to say? And they say one line. I would say my line and give my all, just like I did when I started out, just like on training day. All of a sudden, Sly started to notice. And let me tell you something. He rewrote the script. The script, in the original script, there was no tunnel scene. He rewrote the script. He said, Terry, you're gonna save my life. And I remember coming through that tunnel with my big, AA-12 shotgun, and I was boom, 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 boom. And I end up saving the whole crew. It's one of the iconic moments in the movie where everybody, literally, when I watched it in the theater, guys were jumping up like, yeah, And he gave me a moment. I killed maybe 30 people at once. Probably in the course of like 10 seconds. I killed like 45 people. And then I said the iconic line, remember this shit at Christmas. People were like, yeah! And I was like, all because I shifted my attitude. And I changed my trajectory. I think everything could have went wrong at that time in my life, that fork in the road, but it didn't. Then I learned forever and ever, be the solution. Don't be the problem on the set. Don't be the issue. Because you know what? The job is hard enough. You know what I mean? And you don't need to be the one making things harder. And I knew that was going to be my key, and it sure was. Expendables was a giant hit, and it made me truly a worldwide star. Bridesmaids. Wow, that one, Judd Apatow, Kristen Wiig, got a call because they were like, hey, we're looking for this fitness trainer, and we got this joke here we want to do. And it was a one-day thing. I am a Kristen Wiig fan. We actually did an episode of Drunk History together. Everything she does, she goes. And see, I can respect that because I'm the same way. She does her comedic things as if she was doing drama. And when we were able to do this stuff in Bridesmaid and Maya, we just started ad-libbing and just started going. And they're over there in the tree doing their workouts, and I'm like, what y'all doing? I remember the scene, how I would feel if you saw somebody jacking your workouts, you know what I mean? It was one of those cameos. Again, like I said, I would much rather have a little part in a gigantic movie. And it was gigantic. When Bridesmaids hit, I had no idea how big that would be. I mean, it was enormous. And again, I'm proud to be a part and honored to be a part of that whole thing. It's like being a part of Hollywood history. Sorry to bother you. I met with Nina Bon Jovi, who is Forrest Whitaker's producer, and they said, we're doing this new one called Sorry to Bother You with Boots Riley. Now, I've been a big fan of Boots since The Cool, and I said, let me see the script. And I started reading, and I was like, oh, let me see. This started out pretty good. And then it went off the rails. And the script went bonkers. Like, oh my God. Then I was like, I have to be a part of this. He started talking about the character, started talking about what Sergio was, and here he's this uncle, and see, Oakland and Flint, Michigan are like sister cities, and I'm from Flint. I knew Sergio because he reminded me of so many people that I grew up with who had kind of traded in their dreams for the security of a factory, and all of a sudden have that factory just totally jerk you. And I was like, man, I know Sergio. I lived around Sergio. I know these guys. To be a part of this thing, it was one of those things where I was like, again, small role, but big, big impact. Let me tell you, when I got done, when we got done, I was like, dude, this is gonna be groundbreaking. When I saw it at Sundance, it reminded me of the first time I saw Do the Right Thing. And you just go, man, this is gonna change the game. This is the movie that's gonna influence all the young filmmakers of color for the next 20 years. Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I had got with Mike Shore and Dan Gore, and we had a meeting. And they said, we're doing the new Andy Samberg pilot. Now, I didn't even have a name. And I was like, oh, I love Andy Samberg, right? So this is one thing I knew. I said, Andy is the future of comedy. And I said, this is good, but there were some other things. Mike and Dan called me up, and they say, Terry, we have named the character that we want you to play in our script, Terry. So if you don't take it, you are going to feel horrible knowing that someone else is walking around with your name. I was like, damn it, you bastard! You bastards, you got me. I said, my God, that was a very wise move because you're right. I would have felt horrible knowing that this guy's named Terry and it was really supposed to be mine, you know. When we did the pilot, it felt like we had already been together 5 years. And lo and behold, we got to pick up. And then we won the Golden Globe. Now, that's a whole nother thing. Then to go 5 seasons, get canceled, and then have the internet bring you back. From the dead, the internet. The internet flips out from Guillermo del Toro, from Lin-Manuel Miranda, Mark Hamill, Sean Astin. They are flipping out like, we gotta have Brooklyn Nine-Nine back. The internet flipped. We were #1 trending all over the world, and it just made me feel so good. And then NBC picks us up 30 hours later. Hey man, listen, you gotta understand something about my life. What's so crazy about my life is if you wrote it, no one would believe it. They would say it's contrived. They would say, no way. This doesn't happen. But that's how life is. Truth is stranger than fiction.